So we use sentences all the time, obviously. Don't really think about it much. But have you ever thought about the secret lives of the tiny words inside them?
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Today we're diving into something called Clitic climbing. Sounds a bit athletic.
Maybe a little. It's this really interesting grammatical thing where these tiny pronoun-like bits seem to, well, move around in ways you wouldn't expect.
Okay, so clitic climbing. What is this linguistic gymnastics exactly? And, where does it happen? What's the big deal?
Right. So we're focusing on clitics. These are very dependent pronoun forms, not quite full words on their own.
Dependent, okay.
And some languages or sources don't list exactly which ones, but it's known these clitics tend to shift. They move from, say, a lower part of the sentence, an embedded clause.
Like a subclause.
Exactly. And they move up to a higher part, often latching onto the verb in the main clause.
Whoa, okay. So climbing is literal then. They leave the verb they were originally with down below and climb up to the main verb. Like they prefer being higher up.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah. And like I said, it happens in several languages. But, and this is key, the source points out, it's not, chaotic.
Not just anytime they feel like it.
No, definitely not. There are specific constraints, rules, for when this climbing is allowed.
Rules, okay. Makes sense. The source also mentioned something about verbs, that the type of verb matters.
Yes, exactly. That's really interesting. It seems clitic placement, and therefore this climbing, is sensitive to the verb class.
So some verbs are like, come on up, and others are, nope, stay put. Why would the verb itself care?
Well, the idea is that certain verbs create a grammatical structure, maybe a tighter connection between clauses that makes it easier or even necessary for the clitic to move. This connects to another concept in the source, restructuring.
Restructuring. Okay, what's that?
It's basically when two clauses start acting grammatically, more like one single bigger clause. And it seems clitic climbing often happens in these restructured environments.
So the sentence structure itself kind of morphs, and that allows the clitic to move.
Precisely. It facilitates the climb, you might say.
Now, the source really stressed the difference between strong pronouns like he or me, standing alone weak pronouns, and then these clitics. Why is that distinction so crucial here?
It's all about independence. Strong pronouns, fine on their own. Weak pronouns, a bit less so, but still distinct words. Clitics, though, they're the neediest.
Neediest.
Yeah, they have to attach to something, usually a verb. They can't stand alone. They're phonologically dependent.
Okay. They're like Velcro words. Gotta stick to something.
Exactly. And because they must attach, seeing them detach from one verb and reattach to another one higher up is really noticeable. It makes linguists ask big questions.
Right, which leads to that other point in the source. Do they follow normal movement rules, like other things that move in a sentence?
That's a huge question.
Yeah.
Because they're sort of word-like, but also sort of like grammatical endings, affixes.
So they blur the lines between sentence structure, syntax, and word formation, morphology.
They really do. Their movement challenges neat divisions. It suggests maybe syntax and morphology are more, intertwined than some theories might propose. It's this syntax-morphology interface puzzle.
Fascinating. Okay, what about clitic doubling? The source brought that up too. Sounds like having two pronouns for the same thing.
Yeah. Sometimes you get both the clitic and a full noun phrase or pronoun referring to the same entity in the sentence. It often marks emphasis or agreement.
And how does that mess with the climbing?
Well, the presence of doubling can sometimes interact with climbing. It might make climbing more likely or less likely, or change how it works, depending on the specific language and construction. Adds another layer of complexity.
Always another layer.
Yeah.
And finally, this obligatory versus optional thing. Sometimes the clitic must climb, other times it's just allowed.
Right. Whether it's mandatory or optional can depend on, a whole mix of factors. The specific verbs involved, the exact sentence structure, maybe even dialectal differences.
Wow, so many subtle rules.
It really shows how intricate grammar can be, even for these tiny elements.
Okay, so summing up, clitic climbing is this really cool movement of these super dependent little pronoun things. They climb up the sentence, often tied to specific verbs, and this idea of restructuring clauses.
And it really challenges our ideas about where words end and grammar rules begin.
It definitely pulls back the curtain, doesn't it? Shows the hidden complexity humming away under the surface of language.
Absolutely. Studying things like this gives us real insights into how language, fundamentally, is structured and organized.
Makes you think, doesn't it? About all the unconscious rules we follow constantly. Maybe next time you're listening to or learning a language, You might just notice those little clitics making their journey.
You might.
And it leaves you wondering what other hidden mechanisms are shaping the sentences we use every single day. That's definitely something to mull over.